everybody, I'm going to teach you how to make a bag that my friend Laura taught me how to make. First, you want to have 4 pieces of material that are cut similarly, 2 squares or rectangles for the lining, and 2 squares or rectangles for the outside of the purse or the bag. I am cheating. You're supposed to actually have 2 squares, but I have, instead of having 2, I have folded this in half, and I'm going to see how it works. I've never tried it this way before. So you're going to need a lining and the outside of your purse. You're also going to need, if you want something to tie it together, some kind of ribbon. And you'll also need extra material or ribbon to make the handles. One additional thing that you could have if you want to is some kind of facing to iron on to the material to make the bag stiffer. That's a nice touch that I'm not going to do right now, just because I'm doing something quick and easy. So the first thing you're going to do with your material, your 4 pieces, is you're going to cut some equally sized squares in the bottom of each piece. And I am just going to eyeball mine because I'm just going to try to do it quickly for this video. And then I take this that I just cut and I use it as my pattern for the other corners. Now that I have my squares cut out, I hope this works because this is not measured out or even ironed. But now that I have my squares cut out, if you're cheating like me, what you're going to have to do is cut a hole in the bottom of your lining, because that's where you're going to pull everything through. If you have 2 separate pieces of material, you don't need to worry about that yet. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to turn everything inside out. And you're going to, on both pieces of material, you're going to sew a line down each side. And then on the lining, you're going to only sew a little bit on each side, or you're going to cut a hole like I did. And on the outside of your purse, you're actually just going to sew the whole thing and then sew just up each side. Don't worry about the squares just yet. The next step is to make the straps. So I've got my material sewn together on the sides and on the bottom, except for the lining, which has a hole in the bottom, but a little bit attached on each side. The squares are still loose. I'm not worrying about that yet. So I have 2 strips. This is the material I'm going to use for the straps. You could use ribbon or you could use any other material. So you're going to take 2 strips like this. You're going to fold them inside out, and then you're going to stitch along the edge, and then you're going to turn it right side out. Once you have the straps sewn together, the way that I like to turn them right side out. Now, I will say, like, if you're doing this, if you want to be really nice about it, you would press the seams and make this look really nice. I'm not doing that today. The way that I like to turn it right side out is I like to take a safety pin and attach it to the edge, and then push the safety pin through like this, because then you kind of have something to grab as you're turning it right side out. So then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to take your lining, you're going to turn it right side out, and then you're going to take your straps, and if they're too long you can cut them, change them how you need to. You're going to put them like this, and you're going to, you can pin it to make sure it's in, equal position on each side, but you're going to sew the straps in this position to the edge of the lining. and then you're going to flip it over and do the same thing with the other strap on the other side. Okay, so now I have my straps sewn on, and I've also tacked on some ribbon, which will be used as a tie to tie the bag shut. And I made the ribbon right in between the straps on each side, and I made it pretty long because you can always cut it later. If you want to be a jerk about it, you can press this whole thing and have pressed everything, but I didn't want to do that. So now what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that each bag is inside out. And then you're going to take the square and you're going to pull the square long ways like this, and you're going to sew across there. So now I have two bags that are both turned inside out, and you're going to make sure that all of your pieces are kind of tucked nicely and flatly into your lining so that they don't bunch up or do weird things when you sew this together. We're on the final steps here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your two inside out pieces, you're going to line them up together, and then you're going to pin them all the way around in a circle like this. And then once you have it pinned, you're going to sew all the way around in a circle. Okay, so once you have sewed the entire thing shut, both pieces inside out, and I just tucked it in to make it easier to sew. Then remember the hole that is in your lining. You're going to use that hole to turn the whole thing right side out. Oopsie, I heard a little rip. This bag is being a jerk. All right. So now you have something that looks like this, and you tuck your lining into your bag. Wow, those straps are just proportionately large compared to the bag. And maybe the lining doesn't really match the the purse. But so now what you're going to do is you're going to take that hole that you just pulled everything through, and you're going to stitch it shut. So here is the finished product. The tie to tie it shut. I think that kind of works better if you have a bigger bag. Also, what works better is smaller handles on a smaller bag, but you get the picture of how you could do things. I have made little bags for my daughter's friends for their birthdays, and I have stenciled on their name with a stencil and permanent ink. And I've also done little appliques and things like that. I wish I took pictures of the bags I've made in the past because they are much cuter than this one. But you can kind of imagine, this is kind of a springboard for you to kind of imagine what kind of a bag you can make.